Good evening, friends. So, are you getting my screen and voice? Please let me confirm once.
Good evening, sir. Getting.
Good evening, sir. Yes, sir, getting.
Right. In last class, we have seen conditional statements. What are the different types of conditional statements we have? If, here we have seen if condition, if else condition, if if elif else. How to use if condition, how to use if else, how to use if elif, how to use if elif else. We have covered all these conditional statements, and we covered looping statements also. Looping statements are iterative statements. Looping statements are iterative statements. In Python, we have only two types of looping statements. One is for loop, second one is while loop. We don't have do while loop in Python. We have for loop and while loop. We have two types of looping statements. We have it here. Right. So here we had clear discussion about when we will go for loop, when we will go for while loop. When we will go for loop, if you want to execute group of statements repeatedly for each element present in the given sequence, then we have to go for loop. When we will go for while loop, if you want to execute group of statements repeatedly until condition is getting false, until condition is getting false, then we have to go for this while loop. Right. Here we can write nested loops also. Nested loops. What is a nested loop? Nested loop is nothing but loop inside another loop. Loop inside another loop is called as a nested loop. Loop inside another loop is called nested loop. Sometimes we can write a loop inside another loop. Such type of loops are called nested loops. We can write loop inside another loop. Such type of loops are called nested loops. How we will write a loop inside another loop? How we will write a loop inside another loop? So like this. Here I have for loop. For each element, for each element in, for each element in, right, range of range of 4 I am taking like this. For each element in range of 4 I am taking like this. Next here, right, inside this for loop I am going to write one more for loop like this. For each element in range of, for each element in range of 4 like this I am taking. See, observe very carefully. Right, this is the for loop. For I in a range of 4, this is the for loop. Inside this for loop, I am writing one more for loop like this. Right, we can write a loop inside another loop. Such type of loops are called nested loops. Such type of loops are called nested loops. Here what we are doing, we can write a loop inside another loop. Such type of loops are called nested loops. Nested loops. So now here what I want to print it here. See, here inside this you have to write the logic. Here we have to write the logic. Whatever you want to write logic inside this for loop, we have to write print print. I want to print like this. I value and j value both I want to print. I value and j value. I value is equal to, otherwise print like this. I value comma j value also I want to print. I value and j value both I want to print. Here what I am doing, inside this for loop I am writing one more for loop. Inside this I am writing one more for loop. Right, nested for loop means a loop inside another loop is nothing but a nested loop. Here this is the outer loop, this is the main loop. Inside this main loop I am taking one more loop, this is the inner loop. Outer loop and inner loop, loop inside another loop. Such type of loops are called nested loops. Now if I run this one, what output you will get, we'll see. If you run this one, what output you will get, we'll see it here. Python sample 1006.py. One minute. cd sample Python. Inside this Python sample 106.py. See what we are getting. Observe very carefully. Here what outputs we are getting it here. 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3 like this we are getting. See how we are getting this output. Observe very carefully. Here what is the I value first time? 0. I value is 0. Right, it will go inside. Here what is the j value? J value also range of 4 means 0 to 3. Here also range of 4 means 0 to 3. Observe very carefully at here. Here and here generated values are 0, 1, 2, 3. Here also for this range also 0, 1, 2, 3. Now for each element in this range, see first for loop, when we will go for loop, for each element in the given sequence, I want to execute this for loop. See first for loop what it is telling, for each element present in the given sequence, I want to execute these statements. This for loop I want to execute. Means how many number of times this for loop will execute? For each element, 0, one time 1, one time 2, one time 3, one time. Now here also this for loop what it is telling, for each element in the given sequence, I want to execute this statement. Like this. So now here first time what is I value? First time I value is 0. It will go inside. To execute this for loop. So now here it will take j value. See here, this is the I value and this is the j value. Right, now the control comes to inner for loop. Here first time what is the j value? 0 only. Now here what I am doing, I am printing I value and j value. What is I value? 0 and j value also 0 only. Like this you will get. Next, I value same only. Right, here how many number of times this loop will execute? 4 times. See here, whenever it comes to inner for loop, for each element this print statement will execute. How many number of times this for loop, this print statement will execute? Here totally how many elements are there? Those many number of times. Right, first I value is 0 only. Control will come inside. It will check this for loop. For each element this print statement will execute. So second time also I value 0 only. the control won't go back. Here only control. Now control we have at line number 2 only. Now j value is 1. Sorry, I value is 0. J value is 1 now. J value is 1. J value is 1. So next time I value 0 only. J value is 2. J value is 2. Next time I value is 0 only. J value is 3. You will get like this. Did you understand these things? What I am doing it here? Here, right? First time I value is 0. Control comes to inside. Here J value 4 times I want to execute this print statement. For each element present in the given sequence, I want to execute this print statement. So now J value first time 0. Go and execute this line. Next J value is 1. Go and execute this line. Next J value is 2. Go and execute this line. Next J value is 3. Go and execute this line. After executing 4 times, then what it will do? Now again it will go back to main for loop. Again it will go back to main for loop. So now I value will become 1. Now I value is 1 next time. Again it will come inside. Now I value is 1. So what is J value? J value 0 only. I and J I am printing. So I value is 1. J value is 0. Same. I value is 1. J value is 1. I value is 1. J value is 2. I value is 1. J value is 3. After executing 4 times, again the control will go to right main for loop at here. Now I value is what? I value is 2. Again it will come inside. I value is 2. Again J value is 0. I value is 2. J value is 1. I value is 2. J value is 2. I value is 2. J value is 3 like this. Again it will go back to main for loop. Here next I value is 3. Again it will come inside. Now I value is 3. J value is 0. I value is 3. J value is 1. I value is 3. J value is 2. I value is 3. J value is 3 like this. Understood how it is working? Please respond. How it is working, clear? First time I value is 0. It will go inside. Here again it will check. Right, for each element, 4 elements are there inside this range. For each element, this loop will execute 4 times. This for loop will execute 4 times. Again, it will come out. Next I value is 1. It will come inside. And again, this for loop will execute 4 times. Again, it will go back. Next time I value is 2. And it will come inside. This for loop will execute again 4 times. After that, again it will go back to main for loop. Here I value is 3, and again it will come inside. This for loop will execute 4 times. Total how many number of times this for loop is executing? Inner for loop, how many number of times inner for loop is executing? Inner for loop, how many number of times executing? 16 times. Total inner for loop is executing 16 times. 16 times. See, for each element, here we have 4 elements. For each element, this inner for loop will execute. Inner for loop will execute. First time 0, it comes inside. Again, here 0, here 4 times. 4 times, again 4 times. Again 4 times, again 4 times. Total 16 times this inner for loop is executing. Like this, we can write nested for loops. Loop inside another for loop is nothing but nested for loop. Loop inside another loop is called nested for loop. Right. So next, like this, we can write inner for loop. What is nested loops? After inner is executed, how it will understand to go to main for loop. Here nothing, and here for each element, and here it will check each element total how many number of elements are there inside this range. For each element, again it will after executing 4 times, again it will go back. It will check, is there any other element in this range, right? If it is there, then again it will take that number and it will come inside and execute this for loop. Again it will go back, and here how it will come out, and how it will come out from main loop only it will come out, and from main loop only it will come out. Suppose you guys have at your home, and main door is there, inside that bedroom is there, and bedroom is there, and right, how you guys know if you want to come out, right, once you have to come out from the bedroom and again you have to come out from the main door, and correct or not? So you guys have main door and bedroom door also. Now you guys are inside bedroom door, and how you guys will come outside? First you guys have to come out from bedroom to main, bedroom to this hall. After that you guys have to come out from main door to out, and here also how it will come out, and first inner for loop to outer for loop, inner for loop to outer for loop it will come, and from that outer for loop it will come out complete, and next one more program we'll see. One more program we'll see related to this nested for loop, and one more program we'll see related to this nested for loop, right? So here, so you guys know, if you guys want to print any patterns, and if you guys want to print any patterns by using, at that time we will use these nested for loops, and if you want to work with any patterns kind of programs, then we will go for this for loops. Suppose I want to print a pattern like this, and I want to print a pattern like this, star, otherwise take like this, and 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5. So like this I want to print, and so this is the output I want to get, and how you guys will write the program for this? I want to get this output. How you guys will write the program for this? By using this nested for loops, easily we can write. By using this nested for loops, we can write the program for this. How you guys will write the program for this? See here, first here, total how many number of rows you want to take. See, and here how many number of rows are there? First row, second row, third row, fourth row, and fifth row. I want a total 5 rows. I want a total 5 rows. How you will take that row number? How you will take that row number, and here I am going to take like this. N is equal to int of input enter row number. Enter row number. Enter row number like this. Like this we have to take total how many number of rows you want. Here I am getting this 5 rows, 6 rows, 7 rows, like that I will get it here. Right. Once you got that row number, next what we have to do? Here we have to write the for loop. For each element in, here n is integer type, n is integer. We can't able to iterate integer, and we can't able to iterate integer. Then what we have to do? If you can't able to iterate integer, then what we have to take? We have to take that number inside range. How we will take? Range of. Here what I am doing? 1 comma n plus 1 I am taking. 1 comma n plus 1 I am taking. Why I am taking like this? And here 1 means what? Begin. 1 means what? Begin. End means n plus 1. Here I want a total 5 rows. I want a total 5 rows. Here n value I gave 5. N value I gave 5. So now here begin and end both you are providing. Suppose here if you take n as the end value, n as the end, and how many rows you will get, and please respond. Instead of n plus 1, if you take n yet here, how many rows you will get? Please respond. Please respond. Instead of n plus 1, if I take n, how many rows you will get? Infinite. How many infinite? See, and here n value I am giving, assume n value is 5 I took it. Assume n value I provided 5. So now here what I am doing, 1 comma n I am taking. 1 comma n I am taking. Now total how many number of rows you will get? 4 rows we will get. Very good. And here we will get only 4 rows. If you take 1 comma 4, 1 comma n means n value is 5. Right, n value is always n minus 1. So 1 to 4 you will get. 1 to 4 you will get. But we, as per requirement, total how many number of rows we want to get? 5 rows we want to get. 5 rows we want to get. So that is the reason here I am taking n plus 1. N plus 1 means how much? 5 plus 1, 6. So n value is n minus 1 means 6 minus 1, 5 rows you will get or not? Please confirm once. Here if I take n plus 1, did you get 5 rows or not? Yes, and yes, here to get 5 rows, I am taking n plus 1. If you take n, here you will get only 4 rows. But as per requirement, I want to get 5 rows. That's why here I am taking n plus 1. N is 5 plus 1 means 6. N value is n minus 1. 6 minus 1, you will get 5 at here. You will get 5 at here. So next line. Next what I want to write. Next what I want to write it here. Observe very carefully. Right. So nested for loop I want to write for j in range of, for j in range of, here what I am taking, 1 comma I plus 1 I am taking. What is this? What is this? Here try to understand clearly. Here first for loop will talk about row number. First for loop will talk about row number. First row, second row, third row, fourth row, fifth row, like that. First for loop will talk about row number. Next, second for loop will talk about number of these digits. Right, in first row, how many number of times I want to take 5. In second row, how many number of times I want to take 5. In third row, how many number of times I want to take 5. In fourth row, how many number of times I want to take 5. In fifth row, how many number of times I want to take 5. Right, first row, first for loop will talk about row number. And the second loop always will talk about number of times you want to take that digit in that row. Total number of times you want to take the digit in that row. Right, here what are the generated numbers? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, sorry, here 1 I am taking, right? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like this. So now here what I am doing, 1 begin first row, 1 what is I value? First time I value is 1. So 1 plus 1 means what you will get? Here 1 plus 1 means 2 you will get. N value is always n minus 1. So here 1 only you will get. 1 you will get. So means in first row you want to take 5 one time. First row you want to take 5 one time. Right. Next time I value is 2. I value is 2. Here 1 2 plus 1 3. 1 2 plus 1 3. In that case, end value n minus 1 means 3 minus 1 means 2 you will get. 1 2 means in second row you want to get 2 stars. 2 stars you want to get. Next time I value is 3. Right, now here, right, 1 I value is 3 plus 1 means 4. Right, end value n minus 1 means 4 minus 1 3. Now 1 3. In third row you want to get 1 2 3. 3 stars you want to get, like that. First for loop will talk about row number. Second for loop will talk about in that row how many number of times we want to take that digit. Now here what I want to print. Observe carefully. Print here we have to print this number. Here we have to print this number, right? Like this. We have to print this number, right? So here between line to line, if you want any space, right, take like this. Take like this. Are you clear this one? First for loop will talk about row number. This is the first row. In first row total how many number of times I want to print 5? Here 1 comma I means what? 1. 1 plus 1 2. 2 minus 1 1. So range of 1 comma 1 means 1 only. So 1 5 only it will print. Right. Second time I value is 2. In second row I want to print 2 times, right? So in second time I value is 2. It will come inside here 1 comma 2 plus 1 means 3. End value end minus 1 means 3 minus 1. 1 comma 2. Now here how many number of times this loop will iterate? 2 times this loop will iterate. So 2 times it will print 5 5. Next row 3 times I want to print. I value is 3. Here 1 comma 3 plus 1 4. 4 minus 1 3. So 1 2 3 means this for loop will iterate 3 times. Like that in each row how many number of times this digit I want to print, so that will represent by this second for loop. Clear? Any explanation is required? Please respond. First for loop will talk about row number. Second for loop will talk about what? Second for loop will talk about in each row how many number of times I want to print that digit. So now see, if I run this one, what output we will get? See, here what we are getting? First time only 1 time I am getting. Second 2 times I am getting. Third 3 times I am getting. Fourth 4 times. Fifth 5 times I am getting. But I want to get here first, okay. In second time, see, and here how we are getting in second time, 1 by 1 we are getting. But this is not my requirement, right? Right, side by side I want to get 5. Next in same line second 5 I want to get. Coming to here 5 in same line next 5, in same line next 5 I want to get. Coming to here 5 in same line next 5, in same line next 5, in same line next 5 I want to get. Right, coming to here 5 in same line next 5, in same line next 5, in same line next 5, same line next 5, like that I want to get. But here how we are getting? 1 by 1 we are getting like that. This is not my requirement. Then what we have to do? If you want to get in same line, what we have to do? Already we discussed at the time of discussing print statements. How we will get in same line? Here at the end I am going to use end attribute. Boss, next one print in the same line at the end. Don't go for next line. What it will tell? Next one also print in this same line only at the end. Don't go for next line. Here I am going to take like this. Here I am taking like this. Now run this one once again. 5 I am giving. See, now we are getting 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5, like that we will get. Like this we will get it here. Clear? Clear how to use nested for loops? Clear how to use nested for loops? Right. Sometimes based on our programming requirement, we can write a for loop inside another for loop. Such type of loops are called nested for loops. See, here this is for loop. Where I am writing this for loop. Inside this for loop, I am writing second for loop. Clear? This is about nested for loop. Right. So next. Next topic is transfer statements. Transfer statements. Here total how many types of transfer statements we have? Here we have three types of transfer statements. Transfer statements, we have three types of transfer statements. What three types of transfer statements we have? One is break statement. Second one is continue statement. Third one is pass. Pass, like this we have break, continue, and pass. These are the different types of transfer statements we have. Now we'll see one by one with examples. When we will go for this break statement, when we will go for this break statement, when we will go for this break statement, where we will use these transfer statements, we will use these transfer statements inside loops. Inside loops, we will use these transfer statements inside loops. Inside loops, we will use these transfer statements, right? So now where we will use this break statement, when we will go for this break statement, right? I have one for loop is there. I have for loop is there for each element in range of 10. Range of 10. So like this, I have one for loop. Like this, I have one for loop. But here now tell me total how many number of times this for loop will execute. Total how many number of times this for loop will execute? 0 to 9. 0 to 9. 0 to 9 means 10 times this for loop will execute. 0 to 9, 10 times this for loop will execute. 0 to 9. So now, but my requirement is I don't want execute. I don't, whenever, if I value is 6, I want to break this loop execution. Right? In that 10 times, if I value is equal to 6, I want to break that loop execution. I don't want to continue further. I don't want to execute remaining things. Right? If I value is 6, right, I want to break that loop. Right? In that case, we have to go for break statement. When we will go for break statement, if you want to break the loop execution based on some condition, then we have to go for break statement. If you want to break the loop execution based on loop execution permanently, based on some condition, then we have to go for break. If you want to terminate the, otherwise instead of here, take like this. If you want to terminate the loop execution permanently based on some condition, then we have to go for break. Now here, for each element in a range of 10, here what I am doing, if I value equal to 6, right, what I want to print here, I want to print like here I want to print stop loop execution, don't continue further, don't continue remaining iterations. Okay, take like this, enough, don't continue, like this I'm taking it here. So now here, right, how you can able to stop break, we have to use break you have to use. Print I value. Print I value. See, now tell me. First time, what is the I value? 0. Here it will check this condition. 0 equal to 6? No. Then it won't go inside. Directly it will come to here and it will print 0. Again it will go for next iteration. I value is 1. And again it will check. 1 equal to 6? No. It won't go inside. Directly it will come to here and it will print 1. Again it will go to here. Next I value is 2. 2 equal to 6? No. Directly it will come to here and it will print 2. Next time I value is 3. Here it will check 3 equal to 6? No. It won't go inside and it will come at here and it will print 3. Again it will go to here. 4. Next I value is 4. 4 equal to 6? No. It will come to here and it will print 4. Next I value is 5. 5 equal to 6? No. Again it will come to here and it will print that 5. Next I value is 6. Now it will check the condition. 6 equal to 6? Yes, condition is satisfied. Then it will go inside and it will print stop loops execution, don't continue, and it will break. This break statement will execute. Whenever break statement is executed, it will terminate that loop execution and come out from the loop permanently. Now I will execute this one. What output we will get, we'll see. Now if I run this one, what we will get? See, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up to 5 there is no problem. Whenever I value becomes 6, it will check the condition. If I is equal to 6 or not, yes, condition satisfied. Then it will go inside that if block. Inside that if block, what we have? We have a print statement. Stop loop execution, don't continue. After that, what we have? After that, we have break statement. That break statement will be executed. Whenever that break statement executed, it will come out from the for loop permanently. It will come out from the loop permanently. See, after this statement, we are not getting anything. Why? Because after this statement, break is executing. So if break is executing, we won't get anything next. It will come out from the loop permanently. In this case, we have to go for this break. When we will go for break statement, if you want to terminate the loop execution based on some condition, then we have to go for break. If you want to terminate the loop execution in the middle, right, based on some condition, then we have to go for break. Clear this one? When break statement is required, clear? When we will go for break statement? See here, I don't want to continue. I want to stop the loop execution whenever I value will become 6. So for that, here I am writing condition. If I equal to 6, then what we have to do? I want to stop the loop execution. See, stop loop execution, don't continue, come out, break. Right? So now, next what I want to do is, see, here, next one is continue. When we will go for this continue? Here, if this condition is satisfied, it will terminate the loop execution and come out. But now my requirement is, if I is equal to 6, I want to skip only that iteration. Only that iteration I want to skip. Right? Whatever I value is 6, only that one only I don't want. Next remaining things I value 7, 8, 9, 10 are there. I want to execute those things again. I don't want to execute only 6th iteration. Whenever I value is 6, at that time only I don't want to execute. Right? After 6 remaining, if you have anything, I want to continue. I want to execute those things. Then we have to go for this continue statement. When we will go for continue, if you want to do skip only current iteration and continue from the next iteration, then we have to go for continue statement. When we will go for continue, if you want to skip only current iteration and continue from the next iteration, then we have to go for continue statement. Then we have to go for continue statement. See, here I am taking one list. List is equal to 100, 200, 300, 300, 500, 150, 250, 350, like this. I have it here. So now I'm feeling whatever we have 500, that is too costly, right? 500 is too costly, right? So if the item value is 500, I don't want that item. Remaining items which are less than 500, I want to take those items. I want to take only the items which are less than 400, which are less than 500. But here this item value is 500. After 500, again we have 150, 250, 350. I want to take these items again. So in that case, I want to skip only this 500 item. Remaining all the items I want to take. In that case, we have to go for continue. How to write that continue? We'll see. For each element in L, for each element in L, I am taking if I equal to otherwise I greater than or equal to, right? 500 or more than 500. If I greater than or equal to 500, then I don't want that item. Just I want to print don't process this item. Don't process this item. So like that I want to take, right? After that, right, if after the 500, if you have any less than 5, if you have any items which are less than 500, I want to process those items. Then what we have to do here, I will take like continue. We have to take it here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here print I. So now observe very carefully. First time I value is 100. Here it will check the condition. 100 is greater than 500. No, it won't go inside. Directly it will come to here and it will print 100. Next time I value is 200. 200 is greater than 500. No, it won't go inside. Directly it will come to here and it will print 200 also. Next time I value is 300. 300 is greater than 500. No, it will come to here and it will print 300 also. Next time I value is 500. 500 is equal to 500. This condition is satisfied. Now it will go inside and it will print don't process this item. Don't process this item, and it will execute this continue. Again it will go for next. Next time I value is 150. 150 is greater than 500. No, it will come to here and it will print 150. Next item is 250. Like that. Only the item which is greater than or equal to 500, those items only it will skip. Remaining items which are less than 500, those items it will process. Now let me execute this program. See what we are getting, 100 we are getting, 200 we are getting, 300 we are getting, but in the middle 500 we are not getting. There what we are getting, don't process this item. Don't process this item, right? So now 1 minute. Like this I will take otherwise. So you guys will get clarity which item we are not processing. See, here 100, 200, 300. Don't process this item which is 500. Which is 500. So next again 150, 250, 350 you are getting. Here what we are doing, only the item which is 500 we are skipping. Remaining all the things we are processing. Remaining all the things we are processing. In this case, we have to go for continue statement. Understood? When we will go for continue? Is it clear? Please respond. When
Yes.
we will go for continue?
Yes, sir.
Right. So, when we will go for break, if you want to terminate the loop execution based on some condition, then we have to go for break statement. If you want to skip the current iteration and continue from the next iteration, then we have to go for continue statement. Then we have to go for continue statement. Next, right here, one more thing we have to discuss it here. Right here, generally, where we have seen else and where we have seen else at the time of writing conditions, at the time of writing if condition, if else, if else, there we have seen else. But here we can write else, we can write else with the loops also. Else we can write with loops also. We can use it loops also this else, right? If you use loops with else, where you will write this else block, and when this else block will execute, when this else block will execute. See, inside a loop execution, see, inside loop execution, if break statement is not executing, then else block will get execute. Else block will execute. If break is not executing, then else block will execute. If break is executing, then else block won't execute. Either break or else, only one thing will execute at a time. Don't simultaneously, don't will execute. Either break or else. When else block will execute, if break statement is not executing, then else block will execute. If else block is executed, then break statement won't execute. See, here I'm writing like this, like L is equal to 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, 400, like this I took it here. So now here, if I greater than or equal to 500, I value is greater than or equal to 500, then print stop execution. Stop execution. Here, break I am taking like this. Break I am taking like this. Now here, else I am going to take it here. 1 minute. For I in L. Here what I am going to do, else I am writing it here. Print all items, all elements are executed successfully. All items are executed successfully. See, if break is executed, then all elements are not executed. If break executing means all elements are not executed. If a break is not executing, in the sense all elements are executed successfully. Now in this case, what output you will get at here, we'll see. I'm taking like this. Save this one. Now if you run this one, see what we are getting. 1 minute. Here I will print this I also. Print I. Inconsistencies of the tabs in space. Okay. See what we are getting: 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, 400. All items are executed or not. So that's why here we are getting all items are executed successfully. Where I wrote this statement, inside else block I wrote this statement. All elements are executed successfully. Suppose here I am taking 300. 300. So now all elements will execute successfully. No, and here break will execute. Break will execute, and here the items which are greater than 300 won't execute. Now break will be executed. In this case, this else part won't be executed. Now see 100, 150, 200, 250, stop execution. See, we are not getting this else part. We are not getting else part only. When else block will execute, if a break statement is not executing, then only else block will execute. If a break statement is executed, then else block won't be executed. Understood this one? When else block will execute, this else is not with if only. This else is not with if, else with for. Here we are taking else with loop only, not with if. Understood? Clear this one? When else block will execute, else and break both are combination. Both are combination. If break is not executed, then else will execute. If else is executed, then break won't be executed. Right? So like that we can use else also with loops with else. Next, one more thing what we have it here. One more thing is pass. One more is pass. When we will go for this pass? See here, observe very carefully. Here I am writing one class and I am writing one class student I am writing. But inside class, what we have to write, I don't know, boss. That logic I don't know. Inside class what we have to write. But as per my requirement, some class must be required with the student name. As per my requirement, some class must be required with the student name. So how to create class I know. That's why here class student I took. But inside that class, what logic we have to write, that part I don't know. Then what we have to do? You have to represent that class is empty class. How you will represent? If you take like this, if you run this program, immediately it will return the error. See, here what we are getting? Unexpected end of file while parsing. Unexpected EOF while parsing we are getting. Hey boss, here you begin this class. Where you are closing that? You are not writing any statements inside that. Then how you opened that? Then why you open that one without writing any statements? In that case, what we have to do? Here, just I am taking like pass. Sorry, boss, I don't know what we have to write inside this. If you don't know what you have to fill inside that class, in that case, we have to use pass. If you guys are attend for any quiz competition, suppose one question came to you, you don't know the answer for that question, then what you will tell? Pass. Next person, whoever sitting beside you, that person will take care of that question. If you don't know the answer, what you are telling? Pass. Here also, if I don't know how to write this logic, then I will take just a pass. Just a pass. Now, if you run this one, see, there is no error. There is no error in this case. Then here, same. Here I am writing one method. Def M1 method. M1 method. Self I am taking like this. But inside this method, what logic we have to write? I don't know that logic. I don't know that logic. Then what we have to do? Just take pass. Just take that pass. No error. No error. What is the purpose of pass? If you want to represent any empty blocks, any empty methods, any empty classes, then we have to go with this pass. Then we have to go with this pass statement. Who will take care of this implementation? Here I am not providing implementation. I don't know how to implement this method. Then who will take care of that implementation? Your child class. Whoever going to extend this student class, that person is responsible to fill this implementation part. Whoever going to extend this student class, that person is responsible to provide implementation for M1 method. Suppose if you guys don't know the answer in Quizlet, what you guys will tell? You guys simply will tell pass. Right? Beside you, whoever sitting, that person will take care of your question. Here also, if you don't know the answer, just put a pass. Right? Tomorrow, one more class will come at here. Right? At the time of oops, I will explain. One more class will come. Class student 1. Student 1. This class is extending student class. Now what it will happen inside this student class, whatever the methods are there, those methods will come to this student 1 class also. Here this student 1 class is responsible to provide the implementation for parent class unimplemented methods. Inside this here, student is the parent class, student 1 is the child class. Here, this parent class don't know how to provide the implementation for M1 method. Now, whoever extending that parent class, this child class is responsible to provide the implementation for parent class unimplemented methods. Why? Because here, whenever we are extending parent class, whatever the properties are available inside that parent class, those properties automatically will come to child class through inheritance concept. Through inheritance, whatever the properties are available inside parent class, those properties will come to child. Now child is responsible to fill that M1 method. Right? If you don't know how to implement, we have to use this pass statement to represent any empty methods, to represent any empty classes, to represent any empty blocks. We have to use this pass statement. Understood? What is inheritance, how to provide the how to override, how to extend, all those things we'll discuss at the time of oops concepts. Clear this one? When we will go for pass, to represent any empty blocks, to represent empty classes, to represent empty methods, we will go with this pass statement. Clear? Right. So how many types of transfer statements we have? 3 types of transfer statements. What 3 types we have? One is break statement, second one is continue statement, and third one is pass statement. When we will go for break statement, if you want to terminate the loop execution permanently based on some condition, then we have to go for break statement. When we will go for continue statement, if you want to skip only current iteration and continue from the next iterations, then we have to go for continue statement. When we will go for pass, if you want to represent any empty methods, empty blocks, any empty classes, then we have to go for this pass statement. Clear? Here one more thing we discussed, which is else, loops with else. When this else block will execute, if a break statement is not executed, then else block will execute. If break statement is executed, even if you write this else block also, it won't be executed. Clear? Clear? Right. We'll continue remaining things in next class. Tomorrow we are going to discuss, from tomorrow onwards, all our advanced concepts only we are going to discuss. Tomorrow I am going to start data structures, list, tuple, set, dictionary. I'm going to talk about data structures, strings, and all those things. From tomorrow onwards, each and every class is important only. Up to now, basics we discussed. How to write the conditions, how to write the loops, how to use break and continue, what are the different types of operators we have, arithmetic operators, logical operators, bitwise operators, and some introduction part, basics parts, how to write the input statement, how to write the loops, all these things we discussed. Just basics we covered till now. Tomorrow onwards, each and every topic is important only. Tomorrow onwards, each and every topic very important. Okay, from right tomorrow I will discuss the remaining things. Okay guys, thank you.